Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Oscar's Cozy Corner. It has been a couple of weeks since the So Delightful update introduced the floating islands in Disney Dreamlight Valley, and I do have to say, they've really opened up some exciting new possibilities. Personally, I've been using them as a perfect blank canvas for my DreamSnap submissions. As you can see behind me, they're so easy to build up and tear down, but I've also seen some ridiculously creative ways that the community has transformed them into not just beautiful spaces, but also functional areas that could actually completely change how you play the game. So for today's video, I wanted to share some of those incredible ideas with you, and hopefully they'll spark some inspiration for your own valley just as they've done for me. I do have to apologize, I'm still a little bit sick, I'm a little bit under the weather, my voice is a little bit croaky, so I'm going to power through, we'll get through the video, and yeah, with that being said, let's just get straight into it. All right, so first up, I do want to showcase this farm build, or this kind of like vegetable plot build from Kay Rose on Facebook. Now, this is one of the first ones that I saw. I think Kay actually did this the day after the update came out, which is insane to me. It's so quickly, but so well done. This is such a simple idea, but one that Kay's just executed flawlessly. I do believe that this is every single seed in the game, so this is an amazing idea to have them all in one place, particularly if you're trying to achieve any of the duties, sort of like in the Dreamlight tab, that require you to harvest certain things or plant certain things. This is an amazing way to go about it. Now, they have done a 4x4 grid of each seed, which is so clever, and I love the way that they filled in the extra space around the edge with a touch of magic rug. They've then also used a wall around the outside from the Mulan Premium Shop wall bundle, I believe, as well as the Alice in Wonderland hedging to make it feel all enclosed and like a small little farm. And I just love that idea. The other thing that I love is using, I can't remember what they're called. I don't think they're called an ancient fountain, but they're from Eternity Isle, and they're these little kind of like water decor pieces that you can craft, and they just add like just a little bit of kineticism to the build. I always say that when I'm doing my own build, I like to have a bit of movement, and water is usually the best way to do that. So adding these in is just a real bonus and makes it feel much more alive. Something that I did want to point out is Kay said that these were alphabetized. So they go from A to Z all the way from up here to down here. I think that is genius. You know exactly where you need to go on the alphabet to get what you need, especially if you're kind of like just dropping in onto the floating island and you're like, I need to grab 4 lettuces. You just know exactly where you're going to go. The most genius part to me, though, at least, is that Kay has used the floating display bubbles that we got from Storybook Vale to put a pack of seeds in each one floating right over the middle of their little vegetable patch. Now, that is absolutely genius. I have seen this replicated a few times since, but I think Kay was the first time that I saw this and the first person that I saw do this. So whenever I get around to actually doing something on my floating islands like this, I'm absolutely going to use this idea because this is just absolutely genius. I love it. Well done, Kay. Sticking with farm builds for the floating islands at the moment, I did just want to highlight the lovely Nora from Horrible Gaming. Nora is just a prodigy at decorating. If you've never checked out her channel, please do. I will link the speed build for this video down in the description. But Nora is amazing. She has some of the most incredible decor videos for Dreamlight Valley. You will not be disappointed. But as I said, this is her farm build on the Plaza floating island, and she's kind of taken a different approach to Kay. So in the fact that it's not like kind of a specific grid system, it is symmetrical from the well down here. So you've got the right-hand side and the left-hand side, but it isn't like a specific grid system. However, the use of the leaf-strewn path, I think, is perfect for any farm build. It just gives that farm aesthetic, and I absolutely love the incorporation of Al's toy barn, especially by turning it around so you can't see Al's sign. I think that is genius, Nora. You've absolutely smashed it. The other little details that I love are the water towers from Tiana, again turned around so you can't see them, so it just makes it feel like a real farm. This genuinely feels like a real farm. I just cannot believe how amazing this build is. I love the storage here as well. It's possible to put like seeds in here, or maybe when you've harvested things like the pumpkins, you can throw them in a large chest and you can keep growing some more. Here's a little bit of a closer look, and you can see that Nora's even used the cypress trees from Storybook Vale. Just absolutely genius incorporating these. I love the way there's like single little squashes. I can't remember if these are squashes or not. I think they might be. just here, just like one by one as little kind of stepping stones, even the use of the sunflowers. This is just such a fully fleshed out build. And as I said, I encourage you to head on over to Nora's channel and take a look at everything else she puts together. Just wonderful. Now, JVNT on Reddit put together kind of like a half and half. So this is where we start to see some of the storage elements come into the floating islands, which is what I wanted to touch on as well. I've come to realize that the beauty of the floating islands in terms of using them for storage is that when I usually go to get something from storage, I'm going to my house, I'm finding the floor, I'm going to the room, and then I'm finally going to the chest. Whereas if you use the floating islands, you're able to access everything just with one fast travel. There's no going in a room. There's no kind of like navigating to find something. You just hop on over to the floating island, you run to the chest you need, and you can pick up whatever it is that you wanted to grab. Now, I did do the storage video that I did for Storybook Vale, prepping that in advance. And as much as I love that room and I do love that build, I think I'm going to have to move it outside to one of the floating islands. I'm not sure which yet, but we'll decide. Anyway, sticking with JVNT, you could see that there's a little farm down here. There's also a little planting section with one of the ancient gardeners. That is handy if you need something at a moment's notice, or maybe you need to check off a star path task. But the ancient gardeners are just really handy in general. And then you can see the top half of the island is kind of like the central section with the well, and there's a couple of different things here. JVNT has added a few extra photos, so I will go through those as well, but then they've split up all of the rest of their resources into these specific sections, and I love these themed areas. It kind of feels like a theme park, which is right up my street if you've been following the channel for long enough. Here is this central area, and that does include a time bending table, it includes a crafting table, and then some storage wardrobes. I've seen this done before where the wardrobes around the well are kind of like almost like a dispensary. You can come straight to the floating island, you can drop things off in here without sorting them, and then once these wardrobes or these chests fill up, you can then go ahead and spend some time actually sorting them, which I think makes a little bit more sense, and it does feel a little bit easier to do that rather than having to sort every single time you come to the floating island. So I think having a couple of chests or just something around the well so you can dump stuff and get on with your tasks or quests or whatever it is you're doing, that would make life 10 times easier. Now, we all absolutely love Daisy's wardrobe for good reason, but it is very specific in its decor, so I absolutely love the way that JVNT has blended this in with these additional elements from Storybook Vale. I actually think I might be stealing something very similar to this, and I love the little Mickey lamppost, absolute favorite of mine. This little gem section is adorable, absolutely fit for Scrooge McDuck. I love the use of the big gold piles, all of the columns here, and then of course Scrooge's kind of like vault safe chests. And I love the way that JVNT has just kind of like popped all of the gems around the outside, so it doesn't always matter with gems, you can kind of throw them in wherever. So I love this little setup, and I love that it's not like running directly around the edge. I love that there's like a curve to it. Same again for a mining and digging storage. I just think that this is so creative. I love the use of like the Eternity Isle elements. There's some of the stuff we got from Storybook Vale. It just looks like a proper working area, I guess. That's how I would describe it. And then of course there's the couple of different chests with all the different things. This is just so well done. Just really, really brilliant. And finally, I just wanted to show off this adorable little flower storage. Again, it's got the little figment topiary in the middle, and then I love the green chest. Such a cute little addition. And of course, the flowers kind of dotted around the back to give you an idea of which one is in which chest. It's just a really cute section, and I love, like I said earlier on, how each little section has its own sort of vibe, and this fits right in. This is another storage island from Chaotic N on Reddit. And again, I just think that they've done a remarkable job. And one thing I noticed straight away is I love that you've used a different fountain at each edge. I just think that's really cute. And it helps you kind of like decide which way is north, east, south, and west as well. Chaotic has used kind of the same approach as the farm we saw earlier, so you can see all of the bubbles. I mean, look at these bubbles. But don't they work so well? I just think they are one of my favorite items that Gameloft have added to the game. I think not only are they really, really pretty, they've turned out to be really functional, which is kind of something that you want in an item. And I just think they've really smashed that addition. As for the storage setup itself, Chaotic did say that these chests are for kind of like dumping and running. That's kind of what I said with the last one as well. It is nice to be able to have that ability to just teleport in, throw some stuff in chests, and whenever those chests get full, you can eventually sort it into the correct areas around the outside. Here's a slightly better look at Chaotic's food setup. Now, I actually think this is every single food item in the game, at least. Yeah, it's got to be, right? Because there's so many, and there's even some on the tables down here for the extra ones. Because if you look at this, look at the amount of chests that Chaotic has. So I thought that it was just one running around the edge, but it's not. This is actually a path through the middle, and then there's a chest on each side of the path. So there's one this side for the bubbles, and then there's one this side for the tables, and then there's one again on the other side for the other side of the table. So yeah, this is all of the food in the game, which is wild to me. This is so much storage. This is absolutely incredible. I feel put to shame, but hopefully my storage island can one day be as good as yours, Chaotic. Here is another example of gem storage, and this again has a slightly different feel to where the food one was. They've used a different floor. They've used kind of like the Hercules premium shop items that we got, and I love this new marble fence. And I always love Cinderella's carriage. Who doesn't love that addition? But you can see here that they've used the Scrooge safes again, and then each gem has its own safe, and then each gem is in the bubble just above. Like I said with the other ones, just genius use of space. And it must be so much easier to just come to the floating island, dump what you need, and then throw it away for safekeeping at a later date. Finally, I just wanted to show off what might be the most detailed storage island that I have seen so far. So this is Gabriella from Facebook, and she posted in the Disney Dreamlight Valley tips and tricks group. And I just kind of like sat looking for the words to describe this because this is just remarkable. Yeah, Gabriella color coded everything with light so that even when the game is nighttime, she knows exactly where to go to drop things off. Similarly to the others, there are themed sections, so each area has its own resources, and that is why it's decorated in that way. So you'll see this one down here is kind of like fish and seafood. That's why it's water themed. This one at the back with all of the flowers is, of course, flower storage. And then the very regal one down here is gems. Taking a closer look, you can actually see all of kind of like what Gabriella's called the regular resources, I would say. This is sticks, stuff you dig up, just bits and pieces. I absolutely love the way that she's used these Mulan walls and only used kind of like the entryway from them. It just makes it feel really open while still enclosing it in its own area. And of course, I love that she's used multiple different pathings to kind of like separate everything off. I cannot imagine the time it took to put all of this together. So hats off to you, Gabriella. This is absolutely remarkable. Not just this section, but the entire floating island. It is on the sunlit island, as you can see kind of from the background here. But yeah, just absolutely amazing work. You should be really, really proud of yourself. And I've only shown one section of it. Here's a closer look at the inside of that kind of like base resources one. Now, Gabriella's used tables for this one instead of the bubbles. So I love that that mixes it up a little bit. If you wanted to use bubbles, you could. If you just wanted to use tables, that still works as well, and that's what we did kind of before we got the bubbles in the game. These chests are also so handy. Well, they're not technically chests, I should call them safes. They are really handy. Even though it is not the same as a large chest, I think it's only the same as a small chest. The fact that you can buy multiple of them from Scrooge makes it much easier, and if you're rich in the game, then everything can kind of have its own safe. And then you don't really need a large chest if you're doing individual items. It depends how much you like to hoard, I guess. Here is the incredible flower section, and you get a glimpse of some of the other food and drink section over there. This just looks amazing. Again, I love the different pathing. I love the little figment topiary. I love all the decoration. Not only is this functional, it is absolutely stunning, Gabriella. I don't know how long this took you. I keep saying that, but I just feel like this is hours and hours of work. The Mulan archway around the edge goes so nicely, and again, all of the safes, they're kind of just what you need. If you do have one of these already and you can buy more of them from Scrooge's, it does make life so much easier. I might even have to ask Gabriella to come and do my storage solution. Here's a glimpse at the seafood section as well, and the fishes in the game. I love that Gabriella's used the water around here, and of course the blue lights to match. There's like the little coral statues, there's the aquarium. I just mean the attention to detail. How can I compete? I feel like I need to up my game. The one thing that I always kind of forget to store is fish, so I do really need to get on that. And I think this is just the perfect inspiration for getting my storage island together and really giving me a kick up the bum to, to make a move and start working on it. And finally, here is kind of like the entry portal, I guess. This is where you come into the well. This is where you would land if you were coming to the island. So Gabriella's put a time bending table, a crafting table, some decor, my favorite Mickey lamps, again, a flooring that's just suitable for this area, and then some extra storage chests. And we did get these from the end of summer event. They do act as a large chest if you did want more of those, but they are only craftable. You can't buy them from Scrooge's, but there is a lot of space in them. So these kind of act as like the dumping chests before you go off and place everything back in its rightful place. Well, that brings us to the end of today's video, my friends. I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at these incredible floating island designs, and maybe you found a bit of inspiration for your own valley. A massive thank you to everyone in the community who has shared their creativity with these islands. It is absolutely always amazing to see what you come up with. It never fails to amaze me. But if you've got a favorite idea from today's video, or if you've done something unique with your own floating island, then I would absolutely love to hear about it in the comments. Let's keep the inspiration going. As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. It really does mean the world to me. But don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and maybe even consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'll catch you in the next one, but until then, take care, and I will see you in the valley.